Hey guys, it's Katie here with another video. I thought I would start a thing called Celiac Sundays. So as many of you may know from my 25 facts video, I myself have celiac and I was diagnosed this year. And just from having it, I have learned quite a bit about the disease itself. In this little Celiac Sunday, I'm going to tell you what celiac disease itself is. I'll tell you my story of getting diagnosed and how it happened and what happened along the way. And I'll let you guys know some symptoms. So celiac disease is an autoimmune disorder that's genetically passed on. It's a disorder that affects the small intestine. Inside the small intestine are small finger-like projections called villi, and these villi aid in nutrient absorption. The disease itself is when somebody with celiac eats gluten, the villi in the small intestine are damaged, which makes it hard for the body to absorb the nutrients that you need. So now I'll get down to my story. So my story starts back when I was about 12, and I started showing symptoms of the disease, but they didn't really stand out, so the doctors never really thought anything of it. Well, things I noticed but thought was normal was after I had eaten certain foods, say pancakes, pot pies, certain dessert, would make me ill and very fatigued. Looking back at everything that made me feel that way, we now know contains gluten. I had doctors tell me it might just be the breakfast food that's bothering me right on an empty stomach. So the doctor had prescribed me to drink a glass of warm milk before bed. That did not help. Growing up, I also had a lot of muscle and bone joint problems. I used to play soccer as a young girl, and I started complaining of knee pain. And my father brought me into the emergency, and I was diagnosed with Osgood-Schlatter, which is like inflamed knee joint area. Moving down the road, I had like on and off back pain and stuff, but moving down the road further, I would get constant headaches. So I would get one, or at least one. I could have one all day. I also began to have extreme back and leg pain. There was a day in 9th grade, I want to say. I was walking through the hallway, walked to my locker, bent down to put my books away, and I could barely stand back up because my back was in so much pain. There were days when I was bedridden, and all I would do is sit, and my mom would bring me food because I couldn't physically get up to get food because I was in so much pain, and pain meds would not help. A few more years down the road, I started getting like leg pain down my leg. So when I walked, it was almost like sciatic nerve pain down my leg, and the doctors would say, well, when do you get the pain? What happens when you get the pain? And it's really hard to describe your pain when you have pain all the time. So then I went to a back specialist, and he did a bone scan and everything, and it showed pitting in my bones, and it also showed a cracked vertebrae. So he asked, did you fall? Did you do anything that would have caused this? And I said no, like I would have known if I would have fallen. So he said, well, this could have been what was causing the pains. So then I go back, and the doctor doesn't even know me. He asked why I'm there. So that was the end of that journey. I went to a pediatrician, and he's the one that originally gave me the back medicine, like the heavy duty back medicine that didn't really seem to work. So we went back to him, and he said, well, he'd send me back up to the children's hospital to go see some specialists. So a couple of years ago, I went and seen a group of doctors. There was a psychologist, a physio person, a therapist, an actual like doctor. They were like, well, we want to see what's wrong with you, get to the bottom of this. Meanwhile, I kept going for physio, and I'd see the therapist every once in a while and just talk. And then like this year, I think it was the beginning of this year, or the middle, like May or something, I went and seen the whole group again, the 7 doctors. They were trying to find what was behind this, and then eventually they kind of just, like, they kept asking me questions, and then they go out into the hallway and talk, and they come back in, and finally the doctor's like, it basically was all in my head, and so they basically sent me home with a prescription for antidepressants. It makes me extremely upset now that I know that I was diagnosed with celiac disease, that they were just gonna blame it on depression and anxiety and not actually look into the real cause. We went back to my pediatrician. We talked a bit. He asked if I still get stomach pain. I said yeah. He originally thought I got stomach pain from the medication I was taking because it was hard on my stomach. I said I hadn't been taking the medication that he'd given me for a while, so he said, well, another thing that it could be is celiac disease. He requested that we get blood work. I went and got blood work. The pediatrician's nurse called back like a couple days after or something and said to my mom that I need to come in right away. What is really upsetting though is the whole journey that I had to go through and all the stress I had to go through to get to this point. So they did the test, I went back in, and my numbers were at like 250 for the celiac screen, and your numbers are supposed to be below 14, so my numbers were super high. But since then I have gone gluten-free, and a lot of my symptoms are either gone completely or I don't get them that often. Now I'm just gonna use my phone and look up some symptoms. I have some written down, but I know that's like just some of the things that I felt for symptoms. Some of the things that I noticed were my symptoms were stomach pains, for one. So whenever I ate like pancakes or anything that had gluten in it, I had stomach pains, and also fatigue. Fatigue was a big part. Numbness and tingling in like my legs and hands. Headaches and migraines to like the extreme, so they don't just last 5 minutes, they last a whole day. On here it says weight loss. I didn't lose any weight. I actually gained it, but that's because I ate mostly sweets, because I can get nutrition from the food that contained gluten, which was much of my diet. So I'd binge eat chocolate. Delayed growth and puberty. Also bone and joint pain. You can get certain skin disorders like dermatitis herpetiformis, or however you say it. And that's like the little, like, it's like when you get like little bumps on your skin. Things like that. I had psoriasis stuff on my head, and I'd get rashes down my neck. If you do live with celiac for so long, it can be masked by other diseases. So also with my Celiac Sundays, I want to provide the celiac community with a new meal every video, like every Celiac Sunday video that I make, that is completely gluten-free. So tonight we're going to be having chicken wings and corn fritters. So what you're going to need for the corn fritters is salt, baking powder, corn, gluten-free pancake mix or gluten-free flour, canola oil, 2 eggs, milk, butter. So you're going to take half a cup of milk and pour it into a mixing bowl. And then take your 2 eggs and add it to the milk as well. And then you're going to mix those two together. You can also prepare your frying pan with canola oil. Then take 1 tablespoon of butter and melt it and pour it into the egg and milk mixture. You can then take 1 cup of gluten-free flour or pancake mix and add it to the milk and egg mixture, and also You can add 1 teaspoon of baking powder as well, and then mix everything together. You're then going to strain 1.5 cups of corn. We used a whole can, and then you add that to the mixture and mix it in as well. Lastly, you're going to add 1 teaspoon of salt and pour it into the mixture. Mix it up once again and your mixture is now done. So now with our corn fritter batter, we're going to take a teaspoon to a tablespoon of the mixture and put it into the oil. You're going to want to flip them once they get golden brown on each side, and then once they're all golden brown, they'll be done. For the chicken wings, we used extra virgin olive oil, teriyaki sauce, and some salt and pepper. We also fried up some onions, zucchini, and we cooked some potato wedges. We used rosemary, garlic, spices for the potato wedges. And sansal red garlic spices for the zucchini and onion. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this Celiac Sunday. I'll be posting every other Sunday a new Celiac Sunday video. Stay tuned for more info on celiac disease, and if you have any questions about the disease or the food, you can ask it down below.